So somebody wanted to know what the most craziest thing I've ever done for antiques. Well, here we go. Look at these fantastic 18th century Italian Baroque Puttis at play. Notice the bun in her hair and the whimsical motif of her with her hands, almost like she's in the clouds. These are fantastic. They're 18th century, early, almost Baroque. I did a show in New York for Architectural Digest, and I took my 20-foot dual-axle trailer to New York. And on the way back, I decided to kind of look around. Well, there was a day when I would just look every single day for this stuff on the West Coast. All of a sudden, I walked into a store in 2008, and there they were. From 20 feet away, I literally stopped. I was blown away. I looked at the price tag. They were $20,000, $800. But the mistake they made was they put a cross over the $20,000, and they were asking $10,800. Well, I knew I could get a bargain then. So I negotiated, ended up getting them for $7,800. Problem was, I had to wait for the money. I had some checks coming in 3 weeks. Now, we're talking winter, New York City, '07, very, very cold. So the truck that I had to tow the trailer was a 1-ton truck, just kind of a work truck, and there was no windows in it. So 6 degrees, 12 degrees, 26 degrees, and I could not trust that the shippers would take these things and get them home to me in California. There's so many bumps going across the road, all the, you know, the potholes in Louisiana. And these are wood, gesso, and painted, original paint. And a lot of these moving guys could have just picked these things up and broke. So I said, well, you know, I'm just going to wait there. And I didn't have the money to stay in these hotels $100 a night. And my mom was back in New York, living back in New York, about 3 hours away. I said, well, you know, I'm just going to sleep in the car. So I slept in the car in the Princeton parking lot in New Jersey, showered right there at the YMCA every single morning, lifted a little bit weights, was layered up like a transient. I had 4 to 5 layers, and I was breathing out of a tube because you had to keep the face, you know, the face had to be warm too. So I was all bundled up in the front seat, and literally the windows were open the whole time. But finally the money came in, finally I paid it off. And then I put him in a wonderful box with packing peanuts and tied him onto the side of the truck, inside the truck, and drove him home. When I was going home on the way down, I stopped in like Tennessee, one of those places, showed it to some of the dealers. They were like blown away. These, without any doubt, are some of the finest examples of 18th century things of this motif in the United States right now. We had a pair, we didn't have a pair, there was a pair similar, not really similar, but the same size, same period, sold for $70,000. I think it was New York City, Sotheby's. So my question to you is, would you sleep in your car for $40,000? The thing is that auction said about 20 to 30,000 pounds, and they wanted them, but they're in my permanent collection now, so I'm not about to send them to auction or do anything. But, you know, most people would have just not bought them, not stayed in their car, or just shipped them. But I'm kind of one of those guys, cross between, you know, Survivor and maybe somewhat of an antique roadshow. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye. Oh, hey. So I'm waxing up these wonderful 19th century Chinese Zeton wood cabinets going to auction in London, 8 to 12,000 pounds. Bought them for 2,500 US. They're fantastic. They're Zeton wood is the most dense wood, one of the most dense that they have in the world. And in the 18th century, the Chinese imperial court, everything was made, you know, Zeton just about. And in fact, it's forbidden to export Zeton wood of the 18th century out of China. It's the only wood that sinks when it's in water. And also, it takes the longest to grow, like 30 years to get a real small tree or something like that is what I've heard. They're very nice. They're a little late. They're probably mid-20th century or something like that. But nevertheless, they're a pair. And pairs always give symmetry. So in auction, they usually go for 3 times as much. A pair of end tables, a pair of demi-lunes, a pair of commodes, a pair of sconces. Generally 3 times as much. Hopefully 2 industrialists will lock up and they'll go for a lot of money. Anyway, thanks. So somebody asked me, what's the craziest and wildest thing I've ever done for antiques? Well, here we are. See these fantastic pair of 18th century Italian Baroque Puttis at play. Notice the wonderful girl with the bun in her hair, and the whimsical motif of her holding her hands up, almost as if she's floating in heaven. Really a wonderful pair of these. They're early 18th century. They're all wood, carved with wood, then gesso, and look at all the wormholes. They're simply fantastic. And being a pair, they're just outstanding. Well, I did a show in New York for Architectural Digest. I had a 20-foot dual-axle trailer over there. And then on the way home, I decided to scout around and look to see what I could find. Well, I walked into a store, and all of a sudden I was blown away, literally stopped in my track. From 20 feet away, I could tell that these were period of the 18th century. Well, they had a price tag of $20,800, but the mistake they made was they had a cross in it, and they put $10,008, and they showed that they were already $20,000. So I knew they wanted to negotiate. I knew they wouldn't sell at that price. So I made an offer like $7,000, and I ended up getting them. Well, the thing was, I didn't quite have the money for 3 weeks. And over there, I figured I couldn't trust anybody to ship them because some of the movers could have picked them up like, broke the arm or something like that. Just like that, instantly. So I figured, well, I better stay here till the money comes in and, move them myself since I had the 20-foot enclosed trailer. Problem was, the money wasn't there for 3 more weeks. So I said, well, I'm just going to pull a surf trip here, and just kind of sleep in the front seat of the truck. Well, the truck's a work truck. I don't use it that much. And the windows don't work, so there's no windows. Now, we're talking New York City, 2007, the winter, one of the coldest winters over there. 6 degrees, 12 degrees, 18 degrees. So I slept in the front seat of the truck in the Princeton parking lot at the YMCA there. With no windows. I was covered up like a transient. I had 6 to 8 layers. I was breathing out of a tube because I had to cover my face because my face was getting cold. So I had a sleeping bag, all these blankets, everything. And then I'd get up in the morning, I'd go to the YMCA, I'd shower, and I'd lift some weights, put on some nice clothes, and continue antiquing. Well, finally the money came in, so I got them, and I put them in this wonderful big box with all these packing peanuts, and I tied them against the wall with, braces so that they wouldn't rub. And drove them to California. It took me 5 days. Stopped off in Tennessee, showed them to a dealer. They were blown away. Of course, they asked me where I got them. I wasn't about to reveal. Auction wanted them at 20 to 30,000 pounds in a pair similar, but not the same motif, kind of blackamoors, or similar, but 18th century, just sold for $70,000 US. So my question is, would you sleep in a car in the winter in New York City for $30,000 profit? I would. I did. Thanks. So this is the backyard that we just did. This is wonderful. We just did this, all this grass sod. It's a premium grass. It's a very dark green, low water, low maintenance. It was all nothing but 24 by 24 or 36 by 36 foot pavers. And we took them and sold them. They were 240 pounds each. It was literally a concrete jungle back here. Come over here. Come over this way. I'll show you what we did. Put this step in here, and it's got these like 6x6s, and we put spikes down, metal spikes, and we took nails and we bent them around. So this is permanent. Put a little bit of oil on it. You can't really see it right now, but it's pressure treated wood. And then we lifted this up here. This was lower, and we put all this dirt here to kind of lift it up because it was literally like jumping off the, a bridge. And then we put these 3 Canthia palms here. Canthia palms are dubbed as the royal palm because the Queen of England, she was buried with 2 of them at her side, and in the 19th century it wasn't uncommon to have a $30,000 upkeep. They're absolutely gorgeous, and if you listen, you can hear them in the wind. They kind of glisten, unlike the king palm, which are more stiff, which are also very nice. These are slow growing, so that's why they're so expensive. They're about $200 a foot. We bought them this size for $300 each and brought the truck and the surfers, and we put them in. We're very happy with them. I just did kind of a basic, generic kind of a, agapanthus and stuff to buy time because they wanted some instant beauty. So we did that, and I took the walls and made them kind of an ivory color, and they really blend themselves natural with the, the white. And then look at the queen palms. We did all that last year. Put 20 of them in. I'll show you that next video. And if you stand back and you look at everything together, it really blends in. Just kind of a